Good afternoon, Western world. It is Thursday, October the 22nd. And this week, our class meetings have centered around the transformations brought about by the Industrial Revolution. If last week's subject of the Atlantic revolutions focused on changes in the cultural and political environment of the Western world, this week we have looked at mostly changes in the economic life of the Western world. As we have done so, I think we've tried to answer a few key changes, or a few key questions, excuse me. On Tuesday, we tried to answer the question, why does this begin in Great Britain? And so we looked at the things that are distinctive about the British environment that make this possible. I think maybe crucial amongst these are the agricultural developments and population growth, the favorable business climate in the country, the resources, the mineral resources in iron and coal that make this all possible, and of course this access to markets both locally and globally. In addition, England, or English entrepreneurs, displayed a spirit of innovation that was quite distinct in this time. So we talked about Newcomen and Watt, Trevithick, Hargrave, and others, the role that innovation played, whether in the cotton and textile industry, whether in transportation, whether in the development of steam power. You have some really remarkable inventions that are sort of changing the way that Britain produces and goes about its economic life. Then in class this morning, we sort of concentrated on the question, well, what are the costs of industrialization? What things change about people's lives as we see this emergence of a whole new society organized along these lines of working class and middle class roles that are distinct from one another. We emphasized a few sort of crucial themes within that, the problems of life in these rapidly growing urban contexts, and whether that's health-related issues, outbreaks of disease, whether that's sanitation-related issues related to overcrowding, whether that is food supply issues, whether that's questions of the moral quality of life for people in these areas. We saw that there's an enormous range of challenges, but nothing more so than the problem of working conditions. And I tried to emphasize sort of the costs to people, men, women, children alike, who worked whether in cotton mills or in coal mines or other industrial contexts. The risks, the costs tend to be rather tremendous, and thousands, millions ultimately of people are going to experience pretty severe hardships as a consequence of industrialization. Most of us, I think, would say that the long-term benefits have been tremendous, but we should still be aware of the fact that it cost us a great deal to get to this place in human capital. And then we concluded with sort of the responses to industrialization, and whether those were the responses of people like Booth or Dickens at sort of the upper end of the spectrum, or whether that was worker responses in the forms of Luddites or socialists or others. We saw that there was a range of people who were calling for reform. And it's that theme of sort of change and demands for further change that will sort of carry us forward into next week as we turn to abolitionism and then to the revolutions in ideas that characterize much of the rest of the 19th century. Looking forward to talking with you more about these things next week. Have a good weekend, everybody. Good luck with those papers.